Skyblocks are perhaps one of the greatest challenges you can take on in vanilla Terraria. From the in-depth knowledge required to make any kind of meaningful progress, to the massively restricted options you'll have to use against bosses. Playing this niche game mode will test all of your limits. With that being said, it seems I haven't learned my lesson from the last Skyblock I did, as I'm back to grind my way through an arguably even more difficult map, where something as simple as a workbench will take multiple hours and many steps to obtain. If that doesn't sound hard enough, I've also decided to take on this map in Legendary mode, a decision that even I don't fully understand. So let's get started. The first thing you'll notice upon spawning into the world is that there isn't much, but surprisingly, this small island holds everything we'll need to beat the game. There's no trickery with medium core, which I'm very thankful for, as I can't think of anything worse than a Legendary mode skyblock in medium core. Instead, we'll need to use the few blocks we have on the starter island to progress. These ice bricks can be thrown into the shimmer to decraft them into ice blocks, which can then be crafted into ice platforms for twice as many usable tiles. I carefully collect all of these, replacing the bricks surrounding the shimmer with blocks. I do end up falling into the shimmer a couple of times, but this is nothing a relog can't fix. In the end, I'm left with 30 usable ice platforms, minus the one being used as my spawn point. Using these, I begin to expand downwards into the underground layer. This map uses a variety of secret seeds, including remix, so the only enemies I'll find on the surface are zombies, which don't drop anything particularly useful. From enemies in the underground though, I can obtain quite a few items that will make this run a little more bearable. The most common enemy, slimes, can rarely drop ores which can be used as extra blocks, potions which can be decrafted into some useful items, and since this is remix, slimes are also the only source of fallen stars. There's also the incredibly rare chance that slimes will drop the slime staff, but it's so unlikely that I'm not even considering this. From undead miners I could get the bone pickaxe or some mining armour, which is somewhat ironic considering the distinct lack of blocks to mine. However, I can also get bombs from these, which will be incredibly useful once I have access to dirt. We then have a few enemies that can drop weapons that would massively speed up my farming, but aren't necessarily game-changing drops. Included in these are regular skeletons, whose bone sword would be a welcome upgrade to my copper one, cave bats, who can drop both the bat and, since this is a remix world, the KO cannon, and the trio of salamanders, giant shellies and crawdads, who can all drop the rally. There's also a very rare mob that I'll be keeping secret for now, but I'm sure some of you can guess which one I mean. I'm not looking for any of these enemies though, or at least, I'm not looking for any of them in particular. The most useful drop at this point can come from any enemy, and that's money. While I can't yet build housing for NPCs, there is one NPC I can trade with that doesn't require any housing at all, so I keep taking out enemies and stacking my money high. Oh, and dying. A lot of dying. For a long while, the only notable drops are some bombs, fallen stars, a compass, and a carton of milk that definitely expired long before the skeleton carrying it was dead, buried, brought back to life, and slowly killed again in a small icebox with a copper short sword. Eventually, after 3.5 hours of jumping between platforms, I get the spawn I actually wanted, that being the skeleton merchant. I carefully block the two of us in so no enemies can drop in from above, then collect my hoarded gold to buy over 1,000 rope, 16 bone torches, and 56 bombs before running out of money. It's no matter though, as this should be plenty of bombs to carry me to the point that the demolitionists can move in. With rope I can now descend much deeper into my world, so I pack up all the blocks and platforms at my disposal and go on a vacation to hell, which is surprisingly hospitable at this time of year. The only enemies that can spawn in the centre third of hell are lava slimes and the secret enemy I haven't yet named, both of which are very easy to trap, allowing for a much larger spawn area than other layers. Unfortunately, however, the lava slimes don't drop anything other than gel and money, so after around 40 minutes of farming here, I bring an end to my vacation and head north to the caverns, which in this seed is actually the surface, and also kind of the ocean. I don't know, the remix seed is weird. It doesn't take long for the super secret mob to spawn, and if you guessed it was a mimic then you guessed correctly and have earned yourself a moderate amount of my respect. To claim your prize, simply like this video and leave a comment stating exactly how many hours you've spent memorising the Terraria wiki. After slowly poking the mimic to death with a weapon that deals 1 damage to it, I get incredibly lucky and it drops the most useful item it could drop, that being the magic mirror. Now you may be wondering, how does an item that simply allows me to teleport home in any way useful in a skyblock? Well, it isn't, at least not in its current form. Once I throw it into the shimmer, however, it decrafts into 8 gold bars, 10 glass blocks, and 3 diamonds. Now this isn't Minecraft, so the diamonds are quite useless, but the other 2 components are going to give me everything I need to get a staggering amount of blocks compared to what I've been working with, and also sets me down a path towards a workbench, furniture, and NPC housing. I take the gold and shimmer it into gold ore, then take 25 of those and shimmer them into tungsten, then silver, then lead, then iron, then tin, then copper, then stone, and eventually dirt. I also take the 10 glass and shimmer it into 20 sand, which I then place on the surface in the hopes that it will grow cactus over time. I can then combine the dirt with the bombs I got from the undead miners and skeleton merchant to make dirt bombs, which when exploded will generate over twice as many dirt blocks as was used to craft them. It takes a full half hour of exploding, mining, and crafting dirt bombs to get through almost all of the 60 bombs I had on me, netting me over 1600 dirt to work with. I do hold a couple bombs back, so that once I have housing the demolitionist can move in. With my newfound supply of dirt, I get straight to work upgrading my mob farm, and spend some time there hoping for a weapon upgrade. Another mimic spawns, and after my 6-minute fight with it, I get a shiny pair of Hermes boots, so I can run faster across all the blocks in this world. After another couple hours with no useful drops, I descend once again to the underworld and set up a farm there. Since the camera stops moving at the bottom of the world, I can see enemies that spawn and keep an eye out for any mimics. While the lava slimes don't drop any useful items, they do drop money, so I take them out regardless. After a while a third mimic spawns and drops a pair of shoe spikes, which somehow might actually be my most useful accessory so far. Upon returning home perfectly voluntarily, I find that after over 3 hours, only a single cactus has grown. That's nowhere near quick enough for the amount I need for housing, so I collect up the sand and head down to the cavern lair. I'm met by a surprise goblin scout, which I guess doesn't have the same spawn restrictions in the remix seed. From it I get some tattered cloth, which will be very useful later on. For now though, I place my sand down once again and begin moving up and down my rope, hoping for an antlion spawn. Just like goblin scouts, these appear to have different spawn restrictions in Remix when compared to normal worlds. Usually you'd need at least 40 sand blocks for an antlion to spawn, but in this map it can be as low as 10. Before one spawns though, a mimic is kind enough to give me a weapon upgrade in the form of the mace. After another 20 minutes of rope bouncing, an antlion spawns and I begin harvesting its sandy vomit for blocks. I AFK here for around an hour. Then while trying to kill some enemies I end up dying and losing the antlion, so I have to go through the entire process of getting another one. At least I have more sand now, so I can create a much larger spawn platform. My next AFK session lasts even less time and is cut short by a rather unlucky falling star. I learn my lesson from this and place a roof over my next antlion. After going through this process for a third time, I finally have enough sand to build an artificial desert and still have some spare. So I return to the surface and start laying out some rows of sand, as cactus grows much faster on the surface than it does underground. Even with the surface boost, this still takes a long time, so I end up getting a fourth antlion to spawn and AFK while the cactus grows. At least I should never have to worry about sand again in this playthrough. When I return to the game, I collect up all the cactus from my underground platform and ascend my rope ladder to see that my cactus farm worked perfectly, and after chopping down each one while leaving the bottom block to regrow, I'm left with a grand total of 82 cactus, way more than the 10 needed to craft a workbench. This groundbreaking feat of engineering will unlock an entire new age of progress, but to see that you'll have to wait for the next video. Unless of course you want to join my Patreon, where I've already uploaded part 2. If you enjoy my videos and want to support the channel, this is without a doubt the best way of doing so. Regardless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.